Alrighty, again, just giving it a few more minutes, letting some final people trickle in. Okay, and we're gonna get started with our first question from MGA Boss Gaming.
Hello. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Okay, so is there gonna be any rebalancing to ISTOP? How ISTOP works and the trophies?
To the trophy system itself, one of the main things we're gonna be focusing on going into Map 5 is a lot more of just like the island progression, island skills. As for IS Top, not much information I can give you on that right now.
Okay. Uh, can we expect in map 5 to have finally item flips, as we got promised? I think last map and never
Not for the
happened.
start of Map number 5.
Okay, and as first one here, and my final questions: when's Prison's coming back?
I gotta remember where the button is. It's not disconnect. That'll disconnect you. Move to audience. There we go. Okay. Next up is CC Easy.
Hello. So I was just wondering, is there any update on the approved mods section that was discussed all the way back in beta? Because it's obviously going into map 5 now. And personally, I think there's quite a few loopholes when it comes to mods and creating mods. That some people are creating mods that I would believe are personally on the border of being unfair advantages towards the cheating side. So is there any kind of work towards kind of implementing an approved list or not?
Definitely in the future, that would be something I'd like to put together. But for right now, the kind of stance we've been taking almost like since beta is if you are a developer who's making mods for you and your group, then you should be bringing those mods to us first, especially if you're unsure if they're like not just like generally known to be allowed. You should always be coming to us, say, hey, I want to make this mod, and we give the final approval on yes or no in that ticket.
But
And
would there
work
be
more
a
a little bit
possible
better.
place of kind of summarizing for the average player of what is allowed or not? Because right now it's just kind of hearsay of, right, this is allowed, this isn't allowed, and
I think-
nobody actually knows the true list.
I think to go on top of what Apple stated, like the people that are creating the mods should be coming to us for approval. If
Yeah.
you as a player believe that there's people using mods that are not supposed to be being used, then let us know. Like make a
Yeah,
ticket,
definitely.
let us know, hey, there's a mod that's being used that has this aspect, this feature to it, and uh just wanting to confirm, like, for your own sake, like before you using it, if it's allowed, but also if you don't agree with it and why. Because at the end of the day, like, obviously we're going based off of what people tell us is in their mod. So if they don't
Yeah.
fully disclose what's in there and there's something in there that we wouldn't have approved, then just let us know. I mean, it's one of those situations where we'll go from there. um I mean, what I will say, because I've already spoken with some players around this, we are in the process of hopefully having our own thing created, but that's potentially going to be a little bit. Um, I've already spoken with some players as far as some different aspects they would like to be in the Cosmic mod, similar to what we had back in the Cosmic Client days. But until that time does happen, absolutely. If you feel like something is being used that shouldn't
Yeah,
be,
definitely.
let us know. I mean, that's
Yeah,
always
we'll do.
important.
And last thing, don't bring Cosmic Prisons back to counter MGA.
Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty, thank you. Next up, J632.
Hello.
Hello,
So,
hello.
first question is regarding this map and the Nightmare Boss. Will Nightmare Boss be coming back at this map or
No.
not? Not even if it is still bugged, could we not even have it back with it being Carnage? Everyone's got loads of homes. Right?
Maybe after we like end rep points, or once we calculate rep points and you can't claim like Cosmic Coin notes, ranks, and whatnot. But up until then, while there's still an issue with the Nightmare, it's going to be disabled.
Just because it is still in loot boxes, and like if we're not able to use it, why not take it out the loot boxes or allow us to trade it for something else?
Potentially, we'll make a post if we do decide to do something like that. But as of right now, that's not something that we're offering.
What are you talking
Alright.
about? You're talking about the forbidden pages or whatever?
Yeah.
Let me think of something and I'll let you guys know.
Alright. And then in regards to the PvP update which has just happened, is this like a permanent thing or is it something which will be getting changed or tweaked going into the future? Considering a lot of the feedback on it has been negative.
We've seen the feedback, and that is something that we are actively looking into.
Alright,
But it's just it's day one after the update's been released, so I can't say for sure it's going to be set in stone forever like this, or if we're going to make changes. But we've seen the feedback.
Alright. Yeah, that's me done.
Alrighty, thank you, thank you. Got Dizzy.
Yo, yo, yo.
Hello, hello.
Apple, I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna first say you're looking really sexy today. Anyway, I got one question and one question only.
Okay.
Why was the on Prison's website? Why were a bunch of people unbanned and they said stop snooping on us? Let's go with Cosmic Prisons. Is something happening or what?
Website? I don't know what you're talking about. Next up is David Thick Gamer.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
I just want to start off today. You're looking really sexy, Apple. Quick question. What's going on with the prison's ban panel?
Next up is Varden Varden.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
I was wondering if you guys are ever thinking about implementing a little bit of an XP change system depending on the members' numbers. So if you are more like a solo, you get more XP for like being a solo than you are in a 16-man or something like that.
We've had that in the past and it's come up as well, but the main issue with that is, of course, scaling it and not having it be abused, because top islands are going to, like, just, of course, make their all times with just one player. You can use permission blocks. There's a lot of ways around it. So for right now, there's no plans to implement something like that. But as I say for most things, not going to say no for the future, but it's a really hard system to get right.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you. That's it for me.
Alrighty. Got MGA.
Can we expect any other mini games this map though, like Bed Wars or Sky Wars?
Maybe. Hopefully. Can't say for sure.
Okay, and I'm just curious, what's happening with the band panel though? Can you get anything on that?
Sky doesn't have a band panel, so I don't know. Alright, Mr. Fork. If you're there. Alrighty.
Oh, there we are.
There
Hello.
you go. Hello.
Yo, I was wondering, is there going to be any advancement to the Fever? 'Cause I think the anti-cheat is awful. There are multiple players who cheat blatantly, but nothing happens. Is there going to be like in terms of like people who use timers, is there going to be like a max cap for speed, and if they go over it, they'll get immediately banned, or?
It's not as simple as just making a max cap for speed whatnot, but Shiva is always we're always looking at that and making improvements where we can.
It's just
Especially like between maps is the main time that we look at doing that, but it is something that we do update.
okay. That's it.
Alrighty. Got David.
Question about adventure. Is there anything gonna be like major changing to it anytime soon or not? I know
Yeah.
you guys added like a couple of things lately, but is there anything major that's gonna change it or not?
Depends on how you define major, but yes.
I'm saying like enchant wise or
Oh, enchant wise.
yeah.
No, not necessarily like new enchants for adventures right now, but we are doing some quite large adventure changes next map. Not quite large, but just like tweaks, I'd say. We'll see about getting a bit into more details on that later in this Q&A, but yeah.
Oh, okay. And last question. Oh, what's going on with the Prison's Band battle?
I don't
You
know
want
what
to
you're
explain
talking
that?
about. Got Mr. Gator.
Hey, what's up, team? I have two questions. I made a suggestion about questing. I want to hear some feedback on that. And my second question is, will we be getting any integration with 1.20 mobs? Any switch up with different versions of the game?
We are looking to increase the version because right now we're on 1.20.4 technically. We are looking to do a bit of a step up for the next map. I can't guarantee that it's going to be done, but we are looking to upgrade to a future version of Minecraft, which shouldn't affect players or anything. But there is that, hopefully. As for feedback on the suggestion, we're not really here to do like feedback on sorts of things, but I know Cosmic Sky did used to have a questing sort of system, and a lot of players like there's a lot going on with it. So it's if the suggestions are made, I'm sure we'll take a look at it. But we've got a lot of other stuff going on right now for map number 5, so
All right,
that's
thanks
all I
so
can really
much.
say.
And I wanted to say thanks for listening to the community with injury slowness, even though most people disagree with it.
Yeah, well, as I said, we'll always be looking at that and making tweaks where needed.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Alrighty. No, what did I do? Okay. Next up is Nishu.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
All right. I guess my main question is about mining. Are there any potential updates to it for Map 5 that you can share? And secondary-ish question, is Dwarven Mask getting a perk to make up for Fortune 3 disappearing?
We do have some mining tweaks coming next map. Dwarven Mask, that's a good note to see if we want to do anything additional with that, because I know we did remove that. I'll take a look into that, but we do have some updates to IS Mining, a few new resource nodes coming in. But yeah, that's about all I can say.
That's great, thank you.
Alrighty. Got MGA again. Hello, hello.
Hello again. Can we expect anytime soon to get new maps for adventures? These are getting kind of boring at this point. Like new builds and stuff.
We're not going to have like completely new builds for next map, but there are going to be changes to the builds for next map.
Okay.
What those changes are, have to wait and see.
Okay. And is there gonna be any change towards like how KO works and adventure overall?
Potentially.
Okay. I'm not even gonna ask it to just remove me.
Alrighty. Okay, next up is SQ or SCQ. Don't know how to pronounce that.
I have two questions. One about map length and one about bug reporting incentives. Will there be any bug reporting incentives next map?
You shouldn't report a bug just because you're expecting to get an incentive out of it. It's something we've very rarely done. But
I mean, the incentive is that the server is a better server. That's the incentive. However, what I will say is we've done it in the past in older versions of Cosmic, as well as even in this new Sky. If the bug report is huge, then obviously we will typically thank the player by giving them something in game. However, that is not a guaranteed thing. That the incentive of reporting bugs is to have a server that's working the way that you guys as players want it to work.
Okay.
So,
And my second question is about map length. Will the next map be at least 10% longer than this map?
Be at least 2 weeks longer, if not more.
Okay.
This one was intentionally shorter.
Yes.
Cool. Thanks so much for having me.
all right, gonna close the queue here in just a few minutes because they're gonna do break almost to move on to a different specific topic. But if you have any other general questions, feel free to raise your hand now. Got Marcis.
Yo, hello. So I had a question about like the map stages of like, for example, like Chain. As soon as you get Heroic Key, it's like 2 days, you're moving on to Mythic. The 2 more days, you're already moving on to the
That's
next
already
stage of
that
gear.
is changing next map. Yes, I can tell you. Like, I'm not going to give you everything, but Mythic for both Chain and Iron will be at least 4 days.
All right, and then
So
I
there'll
had
be
like,
longer Chain, longer Iron length before you move on.
then I was gonna ask if you guys have any idea to like implement like more ways of like people using their XP at like each stage of the map, because after like Diamond unlocks, XP kind of just becomes useless almost in a sense. Maybe it's like upping prices, or I thought of an idea like making mules a lot more expensive like after Diamond, so there's some kind of use for XP still after those times of period. If not, there's like nothing really to use it on. It just sits there. You have like 3, 4, 5 bill, and you're just looking at it, it's all useless. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Nothing
I mean,
specifically.
XP is something that we keep an eye on, though. I will say that, like, it is something that we have been keeping an eye on. We do pay attention to XP not just as a grinding mechanic, but also as a drop, and trying to make sure that it, for the most part, tries to stay relevant the entire map. So what you're saying is definitely something that we're already aware of, and we're looking into seeing how we can potentially make it relevant longer than what it is currently.
All right, that was all. Thank you.
Alrighty. Next up is CC.
Hello, so I'm just getting chased by Tacular and Goth. But I've just got a quick question regarding early game progression. Is there any chance it'll be extended slightly? Because I feel like the requirements are a bit too kind of like easy to hit, and the XP is just too low overall. Just wondering if there's any plan on kind of making it a bit longer early game.
What, the actual grind? How long?
Yeah, like the island grind and the level cap in terms of like the adventure.
The level cap is.
Are you saying this coming from a big group of players or as a solo player? Because there's a huge difference between how long it takes a big group and a small group.
Kind of like in the middle. So like considering like a 10-man that, you know, plays quite a bit but isn't gonna no life up.
Okay. Well, there's always going to be, if you're playing in a group, it's always going to be faster to level up compared to if you're doing solo, just with a group of like 2 or 3 friends. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
We are making some changes to like the almost like the schedule of like early game. But other than that, I guess question for you would be, where do you think the biggest weak point is in terms of like you're just flying through the levels too quickly?
Kind of like the up to level 10 is just, it feels like non-existent. It just feels like you level 1 them and all of a sudden you're level 10. Like it's just the early game, just there's nothing to do in my opinion. It's just like you go from having nothing to being at level cap and just kind of a waiting game until the next adventure. And even regardless of team size, it seems like it's a fairly easy goal to get to.
Okay, well, I mean, there is other stuff to do, especially like this map. We've added like daily COTS, LMS, and now you've always got the adventures you can go to. So
yeah,
I'd say there is stuff to do, but I can take a look. Well,
yeah, I feel like
changes if we need to debate, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it was mentioned. I was a bit focused on PvP, but about player XP is far too high early game. It's like the moment spiders come out, you don't really need to farm XP again if you invest enough time into spiders.
Gotcha, got that noted down.
Anyway, thank you. No, that's a thank you.
Alrighty. Got Stray.
Hello.
Hello.
I wanted to bring up 2 things. I don't know if it was addressed because I just came in the call like 10 minutes ago. Has cringe been addressed yet by anybody or no? Or like LMS?
Not specifically.
so I noticed the new cringe change. It's I don't know. A lot of people don't like it. Like the infect change was good, but I don't know. A
Are you
lot of
talking
people.
about the slowness?
Yeah, like the slowness is way too much. Like generally, people just wanted the cringe so people can just catch up to people who are just only running. Like right now, it's like 50%. The PP is overall really bad. Like everyone's complaining about it in my calls. Like in the whole server, as far from what I've seen.
So
I
we
was
have
just-
seen the feedback on this. Yes.
Yeah. Can I give you like a recommendation on it?
I mean, we've seen the feedback. That's about as much as I can say.
I got you. I just hope it's not like this for like too long. Like I don't know, maybe like 5% is what I was hoping for. Not like nothing crazy. But also the other thing with LMS, is LMS? I don't know. I don't see LMS being like really useful beyond like a few days in chain. I feel like if you just grind, like adventurers make way more. Why don't like you guys add like when that certain tier of loot is out, like every 10 minutes you get like a random item. Like let's say it's like chain heroic, like you get a heroic item every 10 minutes or something like that. I feel like that would be better than what the system is right now.
I mean,
feel
for
like
someone who's
Yeah.
always grinding chaotic and adventure, of course, it's not going to be as useful for someone like that. For like a newer player who doesn't have access to or doesn't get quite as many Marauder skulls or just that slot bot ticket a day, like you do get like decent rewards from it. It's just if we make it so you can get like heroic loot, whatnot, that's just going to be a bit too overpowered. But I mean, feel free to make a suggestion post if you don't think that the loot's in a good place for it. I'd say just give it a try with the
Alright,
current
yeah.
loot and see how it like feels, because of course it's only been out for a day.
Yeah, I just don't see like being that useful, I guess. I guess to me after like the first few days of chain, but I don't know if anyone will agree. I guess I'll make a suggestion about it. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Gotcha. Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Alrighty. So we've got Jay again.
Yeah, so I've just got two more things to add. So one of them, when it comes to like having people test stuff, can you have like people who actually prioritize that part of the game? Because getting like people like XPP to like test PvP stuff, it's like you seeing if a bird can swim at that point. And the final thing is, I just put a galactic rank. If anyone wants to find me some PayPal offers,
Okay, so we don't need to call out specific players, but I mean, it depends on what we're testing and like kind of like a timeline. Of course, we want to bring in PvPers for anytime we do like a big PvP fight or big PvP testing, but it just really depends on what exactly it is that we're testing. That's the best thing I can say for that.
Yeah, I'll just kind of throw in some extra input on that as well. Just because we are utilizing the cosmonaut roles a lot more recently when it comes to weekly testing, doesn't mean that they are the only ones that are utilized for that. There have been PvP testing that we've done. There has been other testing that we've done where we've pulled in groups that would be more equipped to give proper input on that kind of stuff. So it's not just cosmonaut roles that get to test. I do want to make that extremely clear. Obviously, cosmonaut roles are specifically pinged when it comes to testing, but that's because these are individuals who have given a lot of input on things, who are usually generally not super combative around things. So it kind of flows in with how cosmonaut roles used to work, but also with the factor of they're typically active on the server as well and are able to give input around most of the things that we need input for. But at the end of the day, like we're willing to give other people cosmonaut roles if they earn it. And not only that, you don't have to be a cosmonaut to be involved in testing. We have brought in groups outside of that to do it as well. So just FYI.
All right, thank you, Tater. Got David up again.
I just got a quick question. Will you guys ever add cosmic crates like you did in factions and prisons or not?
I can answer
I
this,
mean,
Apple.
Sure, yeah.
We've talked about it. It is something that myself I feel very what's the word?
Open or
I mean, I am very open to it. Me personally, I feel like cosmic crates are a lot simpler to make, as well as they just make a lot more sense when it's something that you're buying off the store because you know exactly what you're going to get versus a loot box where it's very random. So I personally do enjoy them as an admin. And then also from a player aspect, I feel like players do enjoy them a lot more as well. Because again, as a player, you kind of know what you're getting. So I guess to answer your question, yes, it is something that we would like to add. When that will happen, I don't know. So
is that including like $250 gift cards like you guys used to have on Prison, or no?
That's completely separate. I don't know if that's something that we would easily be able to do on Sky or not with the way that the store is set up, but I don't know. Personally, I wasn't the biggest fan of gift cards because they got a little bit crazy with the things that you would be able to get in game with them, which obviously we control that, so we can make it not so OP, but it kind of just built that kind of style to it. Whenever it, like, every time a gift card came out, the little thing that you got in game was super OP. So I don't know, we'll see. I don't know about that one, but as far as like cosmic crates, like, yeah, I'd like to see that. I think it'd be a cool addition, especially for like upcoming holidays and stuff. But we'll see.
Okay, last question. Are you guys gonna add any skins to items like we used to have on Prisons and Factions where it give you buffs for certain things? Or no?
Not anytime soon. Definitely, like, as we expand in future Minecraft versions, we're gonna like get increased support for being able to do stuff like that. But as of right now, it's like not something we have scheduled, but it's something we'd like to do eventually.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Alright. Can we move on now?
Alrighty. Okay, we got Varden.
Hello.
Hello.
So you guys added the randomization score pretty recently, right? And I was thinking a little bit of suggestion about that. Instead of like just going down to 10%, why can't it just go down to like 0 or 1%? Like to be a little bit more fun to get out of, the mythic loot crates and stuff like that. So people without outposts can, have a chance of getting it lower than the 10%.
I'd say like places like Outpost would not still need to have that value of being able to do that. Randomization scrolls are good because if you get a gem, you want to try to like, you can spend 90 dust on it, where you could use a randomization scroll, try to get it down. Like it's that sort of just like the RNG chance of seeing what you can get. Being able to get below 10 just is not, it wouldn't be like healthy for like the dust economy or like for the value of Outposts and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the answer. That's all I had to ask about.
Okay, anything else?
Nope.
Alrighty. So for this next section of the Q&A, kind of wanted to just go over some generic plans about Adventure, or just give you guys a little bit of details, and then if you guys have any questions about that or any other unrelated questions, feel free to raise your hands afterwards. So essentially, for next map, the layout of Adventures will be changing. So you'll have one main spawn corner where everyone spawns in. 2 corners opposite of that will be chaotic corners, where you will not have like it'll be a chaotic zone underneath the world essentially. So you have like a cave entrance, almost similar to like how the Emerald Mine was on Prisons, where you have to get into the chaotic zone through there. You have to go through a series of tunnels until you actually get to the main chaotic like area where you'll find mobs, but the entire tunnel area will be chaotic. There'll be 2 of these different corners, and then what previously was the chaotic zone, the center, is now going to be a neutral zone. It's going to be expanded. There's going to be a much larger area, and it's not going to have like a case of like a neutral kills a neutral, you'll go chaotic. It'll just be neutral curse in that specific zone. Yeah, I'm going to open it up and see if there's any thoughts, suggestions, concerns, anything like that. Alrighty, let the questions flow in.
All right. Can we please talk about the Cosmic Prisons ban panel?
No.
What's going on with that?
MGA.
I mean, I heard Demimine. Is that Cosmic Prisons coming back, or what's happening there?
I did not say that. I said the entrance to Chaotic Zone would be similar to how like the entrance to Emerald Mine on Prisons used to be.
Yeah, but you said Demimine, so.
Yeah, cool. Is that it?
Yep.
Cool.
Right. So I'm not gonna be like MGA, sadly. It's tempting, but I'm not gonna. But you said 2 KO corners. Are we allowed to know what the third corner's for? Because obviously you've got one main corner, you've got 2 KO, and then neutral mid, based on what you explained. Or is it neutral for the other corner? Or like, what's that fourth corner gonna be?
For right now, it'll just be a normal area. Could be a future
Similar to,
expansion
like,
area.
lawful, or
yeah, it'll just be the exact same. It'll basically be a lawful area. The entire adventure will be safe zone, lawful zone, neutral zone, and chaotic zone. There will no longer be a PvP zone.
Okay, and in terms of that, are the maps much bigger?
Nope, it'll be the same size.
And same size like KO, which becomes neutral in mid, yeah?
We'll have to see about the exact sizes.
You gotta
I feel
remember
like it
though, as
should.
well, the KO zone is gonna be underground. So
Oh, so yeah. So
Yeah,
wait, so as
so-
long as you don't go down a cave, you shouldn't accidentally go into a KO to an extent, right?
it would be very hard for you to accidentally go there.
Oh. Yeah, I'm interested though. That's gonna be cool. And then also, in terms of the KO curse, is it gonna follow kind of the exact alignment system as Abyss, where it starts as 50 and then goes up 10% each time towards 100, or is it gonna be slightly less punishing, where it starts as like 25 and then goes up 10?
Sorry, could you repeat that for 1 second? Looks like Apple stepped away. So
He went for his coffee break. But
Yeah.
it was more of, is the alignment system in terms of the neutral curse going to more directly follow the Abyss kind of curse system, where it starts as 50% and then progresses to 100? Or would it be a different one, such as starting at like 25% and progressing up?
that's something which is still up in the air. We obviously want there to be a little bit of risk going there, with it being the middle of the map. It is something players are going to have to go out of their way to enter, but we haven't decided exactly how we want that neutral to function.
And last thing, could we give Slim Chillin Angry Minerman for calling me out in the Cosmic Sky stage chat?
No.
Oh, okay, that's everything.
Yep. I gotta figure out move to audience. There we go. Okay. Next up, Stray.
Yes. Yola.
Hello, hello.
A few things. Is there any way we could do an event for the end of the map where like it's like a parkour event or maze event? Because like I low-key missed that from old Cosmic. I remember doing those and it was fun. And maybe we can bring it back for this map or something. Just get like Cosmic coins as rewards or something, or like rank. I don't know. I feel like that'd be fun.
The thing with doing some sort of like parkour maze event is previously
Yeah.
on Sky there was a dedicated event server, which it's not something we currently have set up. It's definitely something we could take the time to look into, but with
Gotcha.
all of the plans we have right now for map 5, it's yeah, that isn't very high on our to-do list. So definitely expect some events for this upcoming Carnage, but
Gotcha.
more than likely, yeah, it won't be parkour, it won't be maze.
All right. And another thing, with the KO 2 corners thing, I don't like how like it's underground per se. Like it kind of just gives me like a, I know multiple people have brought it up, like a prisons vibe type of thing, where like you're trying to get out of like Emu Mine. Like I like Sky for like how it was open, like there's areas to pro out of and run to. I don't like just being trapped inside of a mine, and like I don't know, I just don't find that as fun per se. Like that was kind of like a prisons thing to me, and like introducing it over to Sky is like, I wouldn't say is like ideal, because like that kind of like, I don't know, I just don't like it pretty much. I'm sure like a few other people would probably agree. I don't know. I just don't like the incentive of where you're like trapped inside a mine. There's only one entrance and one exit, and then you just get brickied in there. Like you already have a high KO timer, and then like you're trying to get out already, and like you're probably not gonna get out. And if you do, you're pretty much dead already from spending so much time in there. It's like nowhere to run.
Some changes might be coming to the KO timer as well, but just keep in mind these are going to be much larger areas than like what a prison's mine used to be.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I just don't like the aspect of it being underground. I like it being like open area, pretty much is kind of what I like. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
That
Well,
was
yeah, it's also
basically
to
my question about it.
Those are just like larger areas, like more people players can go in there, and there's gonna be like small little off caves as well, where like if someone wanted to try to go in, grind for a bit, they don't have to go to like the one main area to grind. They can like be in a smaller area. So we'll
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes. But yeah,
I guess it just gives me like a prisons vibe type of thing, where like I don't know, I just liked it open for Sky. Yeah.
Yep.
I guess I'll make a suggestion about it maybe, and see what people have to say
Oh.
about it.
Yeah, wait till you see the map first. But yeah,
I gotcha. All right, sounds good.
all right, see ya. We've got Gator.
Hey there, Athens. I had a question about so obviously there's a benefit of going KO to grind, like I've seen, everyone's seen it. But is there a benefit of going to neutral if you're making a neutral zone?
The main benefit is the higher concentration of mobs that are in that sort of like center POI as well. Bosses are going to be staying where they are, so bosses will now be in the neutral zone instead of the chaotic zone. And
Oh,
like I
got
said, the neutral zone is going to be expanded, so it's going to almost encompass 3 different POIs, including the current middle POI that they do have in them.
Oh, that's perfect. I have one PvP question. Are we? I know the people have been complaining about Gears 4. Any idea about like removing PvP +1s?
I mean, I don't recall if I've seen a suggestion on that yet or not, but if not, feel free to definitely make one.
Yeah, no, there's one, and
Gotcha.
I'll tag you, and it has pretty good upvotes. So
Yep, but of course, it's like the Azure like PvP +1s, those are like valuable items, and they do like make that edge of like who's got the better set more of like a thing in PvP. So I mean, we'll see. If it's a suggestion, we'll definitely take a look at it.
fair enough. Thank you so much for your time.
Alrighty. Got QG. Hello, hello.
Hello?
Yep, we can hear you. We could. I heard you say hello. No, it's not working.
Yeah, no,
you're back
you're
in.
lagging like crazy.
I'll give you like 10 seconds to try to fix it.
Somehow he got into the KO zone before it's open. He's underground.
Oh no! And yeah, feel free to rejoin once you've got that fixed out. Okay, Mr. Fork.
Is there gonna be any changes to KO buffs?
KO buffs? No.
Like a permanent 2 times or
No, KO buffs are going to be staying as they currently are.
also is it gonna be a change to neutral? So like when you kill someone they drop all loot, or is it gonna stay 50%?
Still a little bit in talks as to what that kill percentage is going to be. We'll have more details on that as we get closer to like any sort of testing or release of this, but as of right now, I don't have an exact number for you.
Okay, that's all good.
Anything else?
No, that's it, thanks.
Alrighty. Got Team Mario.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
It's sort of already been covered, but I just have a few things about neutral. So you said that the bosses are now going to be neutral, which is pretty cool. And you said that it's, in terms of benefits to grinding, it would only be mob density that you're thinking would be better than lawful. Did I get
For
that
the
right?
start. Okay. For the start, yes. We're going to add support so that if we do decide to make neutral have some of the buffs that chaotic has, that we'll of course have the system in place so we can do that sort of change, but for initial release we're not going to be buffing neutral in those sorts of ways that chaotic is.
Okay, cool. So, and you said that the neutral zone would be bigger, but also that the map, at least this time round, won't be expanded. I don't know That's interesting. But beyond that, is KO going to have some kind of unique feature other than being the best place to grind? Because obviously the KO bosses, well, now that they aren't chaotic, that's kind of one of the big selling points of being in a gang that does chaotic, that you get to kill those bosses which give some of the best loot in the game. Are you thinking about adding some chaotic specific content that would make going there better beyond just having or beyond chaotic just being the best place to grind?
I mean, potentially in the future. As for bosses, like I get that's like a bit of a drawing point towards being in those gangs that you can go chaotic, but the main draw of chaotic is just the benefit to like your Marauder bar and your Marauder hit list that you get from being in chaotic. So it's a potential in the future of adding buffs or different buffs, but as for right now, it's not. I don't believe there's going to be any like chaotic specific buffs.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, since I started here and that was a thing, I don't really agree that bosses should have been locked under KO control and people willing to like risk their entire set to go KO. Like, I get the argument from people who go KO is, oh well, everybody can go in there. Well, yeah, sure, everybody can go in there, but not everybody's gonna make it out, and people know that. So I don't see any reason why us removing bosses from KO zones and just keeping it where it's at in a neutral zone is really changing anything. Those big alliances can still group up, can still take out the boss, can still kill people to keep them from killing the boss or getting damage on the boss. Like that doesn't really change a whole lot. The only big difference now is the people that die in those zones aren't going to lose everything that they've got. So
in to be honest, I am in complete agreement. This is a good change. I was just thinking that it would be nice if chaotic had something unique.
I mean, at the end of
as
the
a-
day, KO is still going to be the best place to grind. Like
Yeah.
on the map, the KO is still going to be the place where any person that's grinding adventures is going to want to be, because that's where you're going to get the best and the most loot. Unless you're RNG carried, which I know some people on here are. But
Oh yeah.
as far as like, I mean, to your point, if there's things that people want to potentially see in KO zones that may be even more beneficial, sure, we can have those conversations. But it's less likely that it's like I'm not looking to add a boss into KO specific zones, because I don't think that content should be locked behind those kinds of situations. So, but we'll see.
Okay. Is that going to, well, we haven't really talked about what this means for Abyss. Is Abyss keeping its current format, and is the changes you've talked about for the first 3 adventures, or are you thinking about making all adventures follow the kind of structure you've outlined?
Abyss is gonna.
Yeah,
the main change about Abyss that we're going to be doing is getting rid of those damn mountains. But other than that, Abyss won't be changing in terms of like chaotic zone, neutral zone, any of that, because Abyss is already basically one huge neutral zone and then chaotic.
Okay, that's fine. So the nightmare boss would be locked to chaotic, probably still. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right, that's all. Thank you very much.
Alrighty. Okay, we are getting to the point where we're going to have to be drawing this to a close. If you guys have any additional questions, feel free to raise your hand. I'll keep them open for the next few questions, but yeah.
Yup. So I have no questions about any of the adventure stuff, so I don't mind if you want me to come back up later. Everything I want to
That's
say
fine.
is about Island. Okay. First of all, the trophy system kind of sucks, and like it kind of needs some changes.
Why?
Well, because right now you just set bots to go, and then you put a console client on your island, and then you see who wins. You just make money on all islands and then buy things, and then you just leave your island for a few days and come back when the next level cap comes out, and that's like not fun.
Okay, any other trophy concerns or?
Yeah, there needs to be more ways to earn them, like boosters throughout different parts of the game.
Okay.
That's all. I just want to see some trophy changes next map. Yeah, like Koth, daily XP rewards, that kind of stuff. Trophy multipliers that come from different parts of the game, rather than just setting a bot off and like seeing who gets luckier procs.
Okay. Well, we'll see. It's definitely like a hard balance game with trophies because, of course, like making it so you get trophies from Koth, of course, that just gives an advantage. Like, I guess Koth is once a day now, so
yeah,
it's not
Koth's
quite an
daily,
issue.
and
But
it's
like,
a keep inventory zone.
yeah, it's just making sure it's like still fair and like able for all islands to participate in the IS top game. But yeah.
Well, that's why it wouldn't like solely come from Koth. It would come from all areas of the game where you can have, I don't know, your alliance's top adventure kills for like the last hour or the last day, or I don't know. There's like some form of island tasks that earn you boosters, just something so you can gain an advantage, and it isn't just like set a bar off and see who gets the most procs. And yeah, now bosses are going to be neutral next map, so why not have them do trophy thingies, trophy boosters?
Yep, gotcha. Well, I got it noted down. So, yep. Anything else?
All right, cool. That's all.
Alrighty, have a good one.
You too.
We've got Jay.
So got a few more questions, but leading on what you've said previously, so like what Trey was talking about with KO, is there any insight on the new KO timers or how it's work, or is it something you can discuss more with the community and let us decide?
Imagine a chaotic timer where you enter chaotic zone and immediately your timer is 60 minutes. As you kill mobs, it goes down to a base timer, and then as well, like as you're in there, it ticks up every second. So you have to continually kill mobs. You can get it down, but as soon as you enter, it's at base 1 hour.
And will that be the same as neutral?
No, this is just for chaotic. This is just a question for you. What would you think of that?
Well, that's like one of the things I thought of, but if you were just running to check KO or accidentally go KO, then you've automatically got an hour. And obviously, all depends on mob spawn, stuff like that. Like, will mythic mobs take your timer down? Like,
Yep, so killing any mobs would take the timer down, yep.
right. And any insight on blessings? Is going to be any changes, any additions, stuff like that?
The blessings you can choose from the next map will be different from the ones you could choose from this map.
Alright. So a few I think people have got some stuff a bit confused, but were you saying all bosses are going to be in neutral zones and won't be a KO boss?
When we say boss, we mean Bandit King, Plague Doctor, Yajiki
Yeah,
Shadow,
yeah.
and yes, those are all going to have their same spawns as they did previously, which is now going to be a neutral zone.
Oh, so there won't be any more chaotic bosses, or just
Any more what,
because
sorry?
there's not going to be any more chaotic boss?
Nope, they're all going to be, the bosses are going to stay exactly the same, it's just going to be in a different neutral zone, so no chaotic ones.
So obviously we've got the first mini boss in the Dead Hollow Monarch. Is that just like an insight of what may be coming in the future?
It's definitely a system we can expand on in the future, yeah.
So there's a couple more things. Risk jewels?
Nope.
Wow. And what about like a poll system? Just cause I know if there was a poll to have CC muted in game constantly, everyone would vote yes, and for X Pippi not to use other people's sets, everyone would vote yes again, and just stuff
Okay.
like that.
So I'm going to cut you off there. We do have the system of voting in the Discord of polls in the Discord, so we've got that. But yeah, other than that, no other really plans for implementing any other poll things. But thank you for the questions.
All right. Thank
Alrighty. Got Xavier. There we go.
All right. Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello, hello.
Right. First things first, I'll start off with the hello Ice Cloak comment, and the second thing is the KO bosses moving into neutral. Right. A lot of people are not going to like this, myself included. I'll be honest. We find the majority of PvP, and that's KO PvP, comes from people running into KO to contest bosses. Okay. Most players who are in top alliances who are PvPing probably care more about killing people for their sets rather than the actual boss, but the boss brings everyone together. Keeping it in neutral obviously means you're just neutral warrior in, and that's going to be pretty damn boring for everyone involved. So I mean, start off with that. What do you think? Like, because I think it's crap, but that's just me.
Why do you need a boss to PvP?
Because 5 or 15 people aren't going to run in and fight 15 people for no reason. To be honest, it gives everyone a set time to group up and make a plan and do something. No, like you can have KO PvP if you jump someone KO, but it's so easy to not get jump KO. So I don't see the point. I mean, I guess the cavern system being underground will change that, but
I was going to say you haven't seen the new KO, so how do you know it's easy to jump somebody KO? Not to mention
But then
if we were to implement a system similar to what Apple's talking about, like it's going to be a little bit different. So how do you know it's not going to be the same invigorating PvP, just a different kind of style? Instead of you guys fighting over a boss, it's you guys fighting over somebody who tried to get jumped, and now you and the other group are now fighting, and it's a big thing.
No,
So,
I hear that. My counter argument is there's literally no anti-cheat to stop people from using minimap or whatever it's called. I don't even cheat, so I don't know traces and all that. So it's pretty hard to get jumped anyways for people who cheat. But regardless, I'm going to move on to the Abyss because, you know, we all love the Abyss. First of all, can't I? Bit disappointed with the Nightmare this map, but I'm not going to go into that right now. I've already had a few chats about that. Good that mountains are going. They are shit. Thing is, we know that in Rage we can't get that in Nether, right? Yes, we're aware of this.
You can today.
You can today. Oh well, that's cool. Yes, that is cool. Second thing, I know a lot of people have been talking about mob density in Abyss. There's quite a few areas where it seems pretty bland. You gonna up it next map, or is it gonna remain kind of empty? I think more mob density means, you know, it's a bit nicer for other people to grind. I mean, they can hide within the mob so I don't beat their heads in, I suppose. What's your thoughts? Then I got one more question after that, by the way, directed for Tater.
It's likely that we'll probably be like, we'll look at the Abyss spawns and more just like the Abyss, like maximum mobs that can spawn in there and make a change for next map. That's likely, but as for this map, it's not something we'd be changing.
Yeah, I didn't think
Maybe
we'd
after
change
red
this map,
points.
but that's fine. Yeah, that's fair. All right, Tater, the question I have for you is regarding the mule system and the skull points, okay? I actually think the number of skulls you get is fine based off people account sharing and stuff like that. We have grinding up to like 17k on one account, and like we weren't even trying that hard. The question I've got to ask is, what's your thoughts on a system meaning you can gain or you can check for multiple different items in the shops compared to the single item in basic, 3 I think in the KO one and 2 in the sturdy mules? Just because the system seems pretty good for people who are, you know, trying to save up points to get something they can't pull from a chest. But yeah, Team Mario put a decent suggestion out, to be fair. By the way, some of you Berserk 6. But the point is, when you grind up however many skulls you do, you still need the RNG to pull it. For example, we grinded up 15k to try and get System 5. We got one now anyways, but the point is, we couldn't actually, and we probably won't be able to find one in a mule anyways, because of times and stuff, wherever we'll probably be sleeping when it's in the shop, or it'll never turn up. So, what do you think there could be a system put in place for that, or what's your thoughts?
I mean, let me start off by saying this. I mean, the skull system is not supposed to be like, first of all, there's nothing quote unquote super rare that pops up in the shop. So if you're specifically saving up your skulls to buy a specific item, that's really what the skull system was intended for. It's intended
Yeah.
for the higher grinders, like the higher tier grinders, to be able to save a lot of skulls to get those really cool items they want, the mythic pieces, the admin tools, the systems book or gems, things like that. And it's also designed for the lower tiered guys who are having struggles finding recipe pages, having struggles getting fuel pages because they started later than everybody else. Like, it's to benefit those kinds of grinders, or even those that have grinded a ton. They've opened a crap ton of chests, but they can't get a mythic key or a heroic key. If they get enough skulls, they can buy one of them from the skull shops. I get what you're saying as far as being able to see what's in all the shops at once versus having to run around, but that's kind of the point of it, is for you to have to run around, go to the different shops. There's 2 hours between every cooldown.
Yeah.
There's really no reason why you and your group can't check all the different mules and see, hey, is our item up yet? Yeah, here, it's over in this location. Or nope, and no, we got to wait till the next round.
Are you saying there's no waiting on what items pop up then? It could be any item. There's no waiting on that. Because
the only waiting part is some things are locked behind tiers. So, like, for example, you guys didn't experience this map because when Skulls came out, all of the tiers were already unlocked. But like next map, for example, when First Adventure opens up, the only items that are going to be available in the mules are going to be basic loot items.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
Once Elite comes out, the only items that are available are basic and Elite items. Once Legendary comes out, and so on and so forth. So once Mythic is out in any adventure, every single one of those items that's in the mule shop is going to rotate within the mules. So it's all available. There is no cooldown on it. Like, you could literally have an admin tool pop up in a basic mule, and then next 2 hours it can show up in the sturdy mule. So and again, the weights wise, like they're all weighted pretty decently, where you're going to see some of those OP items a lot. Like, they're going to pop up and be available because the goal behind it is to rotate through all the different items somewhat equally so that everybody has a chance to buy what they want if they were unable to pull it from the chest, but they were at least grinding a ton and have a ton of skulls. So
okay, that's fair. So so what you're saying is, in theory, if I check all the mules every 2 hours or so, there's a fairly high likelihood I'll see what I need. Within a given time. It's not
what specifically
never pull
you're
up.
Exactly. This isn't like a systems book in a loot box that we release during the week or anything like that. That's not the weights of these items. So if you guys and your group is trying to buy a systems gem, most likely within a 24-hour period, you'll probably see one pop up if you check every mule every 2 hours.
Yeah, to be fair, that is what some people are reading now. They're saying basic mules all have they share the same loot. Sturdy all share the same loot. And I feel like that's the reason it feels like you're not seeing the items you want. If each basic has a different item, so you have to check each mule, then maybe. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure if that's actually certified or not, because I can't remember, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
No,
all
but
basics would have the same item, but yeah.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like I said, even with the way that it is designed right now, you and your group, if you're looking for something specific, again, it shouldn't take long for it to pop up in the shop.
All right.
The hardest part right now is just grinding enough points, because obviously there's some higher tiered stuff in there that is a lot of points, but it's designed that way for a reason. It's so yeah.
Cool. That's me done. Other than that, cheers. And Apple, let me know when you want me to help you do the nightmare, man. But other than that, cheers, guys.
I already have a good one. Next up, we get Toasty.
Yo.
Hello.
I got a couple things. I just want to confirm, are we getting new adventure maps?
You're getting edited adventure maps, not brand new ones.
Oh, man. Oh, man. That sucks. Hopefully they'll be cool, though. I trust. Will there be a new KO blessing? Like, I know you guys briefly mentioned that, but like, will there be a different buff?
We don't have specifics on blessings for next map yet.
Okay. But I'm just asking if they're gonna be different, or is that what you mean? Like,
Likely, yes, they will be different.
all right, sick. So about like the boss changes, like to move, like keeping them in neutral zone in the middle. Why wouldn't there just be both? Like we had that on Old Sky where there was neutral bosses, KO bosses. Everyone liked that system a lot. Like oh, sorry.
It could be a system where we expand into that in the future, but for the current release of Map 5, it's going to be just one boss in the neutral zone. If we want to add like a more difficult boss to the chaotic zone, we could potentially do that, but that's not something we're going to be having done for release.
Okay. So why I'm asking this is I know Tater was mentioning this, I think when he was talking to Xavier, but fights happen at bosses. They're a lot more fun than, let's say you get jumped KO. If someone gets in on your team is getting jumped KO, sure, you're going to come in and help, but your main focus isn't going to be fighting, it's going to be getting them out. So you're already going to be at a disadvantage, whereas a fight at a boss, everyone is going to be starting on an even playing field. It's going to lead to a lot more fun gameplay for the people involved. So, like, by removing a system where it leads to those not organized fights, but those, like, I guess I could say organized fights, I don't like, there's only going to be really one scenario where people fight KO, and that would be if someone gets jumped.
So I've got the whole thing of bosses being removed from KO impacting PvP. I've got that all noted down. We'll see if we make any changes before the release of Map 5, but as for right now, I wouldn't expect bosses to be in chaotic, but it could change.
Maybe not even bosses, maybe like a different event that might be even more difficult to plan out, to be fair, but I am just saying, like, it won't, like these types of fights were the most fun on the server. Like, there hasn't been an outpost fight, I don't think, ever. And yeah, the boss fights were really fun. Hopefully we can get that to stay. But I do get, like, I don't disagree with neutral bosses being implemented. But do I have time for one or two more questions, or?
You got one more.
All right. Regarding that KO timer you were talking about, please don't do that. I think it's really complicated. CCZ made a suggestion with that exact what you were saying. I think it has like 15, 20 downvotes. Won't even lie, people did not like it. It was really overcomplicated. It's just not necessary, in my opinion. Like, you could just have it be like start at 5 minutes, cap at 15. Like, the system right now personally is fine. I just don't think it should cap at an hour. It should cap at like 15, 20 minutes.
Why do you think that other system is what? So my question to you is, why do you think that it should be beneficial for the attacking individuals to have little to no time on their KO timer, but the person that's been grinding KO for a decent bit has a longer time?
Well, the way I'm seeing it or saying it, they wouldn't have much longer of a timer, but I do see where you're coming from. I just personally don't think starting a timer at 60 minutes, that might be a little crazy, personally.
Why? I'm asking you legitimately.
Let's say you run in KO and you get jumped immediately. No one wants to chase for an hour. No one wants to kite for an hour. It's boring. Like,
you'd be more careful about when you go KO. Like, if it was a system where if it was a system where you kill, like, you spend 5 minutes killing mobs and now your KO timer is down to 5 minutes, 10 minutes even, maybe even less, then, like, that would make it so, like, if you just go in, you're just running out to check for people, sure, you're putting yourself at risk, but if you're a player just trying to go to KO to try to grind for a bit, you're at a lot less of a risk than a player who's just going in there to look for people would be.
Like, yeah, I get that. Sorry, Tater. Go.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I just want to add to that. Like, first of all, Toasty, nobody's accidentally walking into KO. Let's.
I'm not saying accidentally. I'm saying,
not
like,
you. I'm saying Toasty,
yeah.
not Toasty.
Oh, Toasty. Oh, okay.
But to be clear as well, like, here's the idea, and here's why when it was explained to me, I thought it was a fine idea, because you guys are sitting here telling me how you want these PvP fights, right? You want these organize quote unquote PvP fights or these extended PvP fights. What's extended if somebody runs out of KO and then all they got to do is you're talking about these scenarios where you jump somebody at KO, and even you're saying they don't have that much more time than you do at 5 minutes. They're kiting for 5 minutes, fight's over, right? Well, now you've got to have more strategy based on it, because if you and your group are going to jump this person at KO, you know that as soon as you step foot in KO, you're going to have a 60-minute timer. So you're going to jump on this person. Now, of course, they might be grinding for a while, so they might have a 5-minute timer where they run out and they run out their timer. But now you and your group, you have to figure out, okay, well, now we're all in danger because we all have still 50 minutes left on our timers. So you have to then coordinate together to either go back into KO to make them come to you, or fight it out in the other places. So there is more strategy that comes with it. I don't think it's a situation where, like, I get it's different. Don't get me wrong. I get it. Going from, hey, you jump into KO to jump somebody, have a 5-minute timer. Now all of a sudden you got a 60-minute timer. And so I get it's different, but I think if you think about it logically, who should be benefited more? The person that's been grinding KO, and the reason they have a low timer is because they've been in KO grinding for 30 minutes, or the people that just jumped in KO to jump this person? Who should have the benefit there? I think the person grinding should have the benefit and have the less time, not the people that are attacking them.
I actually agree with you. Like, I completely agree. However, I think the time difference between 5 minutes to an hour is way too much. Like way too much. I don't know if we've had like an hour-long fight all map. Like, much less kiting an hour-long timer.
But who's gonna be kiting an hour though? I don't see you guys, like, this is what I see in these situations. Like, I hear what you're saying. I think the hour is just more of a time limit. Personally, I could care less if you made it an hour, 30 minutes, whatever. That's discussions that we can have around it, right? I think the whole point is the, like, which players are getting that time limit attached to them and why. And again, I don't think you guys are going to fight for an hour. I think if you jump somebody in KO and your team's not successful, let's say that person runs out, they are able to make it out of the KO zone, they run out into the other parts of adventure, their team meets up with them, you guys are fighting, that person's KO timer ends up going neutral. You guys are like, okay, their 5 minutes is up, let's back off. Let's back off together the KO. That's not an hour-long fight. You guys are backing up, and now you're resetting for the next time. I don't see you guys fighting for a whole hour. And if you are, guess what? It's what you guys wanted, right? Longer PvP?
I don't think we want longer PvP. I think we want more PvP more often. But like right now, it's in a good spot, right? Like, I will say right now, this current map PvP is in a really good spot. However, with I'm gonna completely change the topic. The crit inch slowness, it's really slow. I don't know if y'all intended for it to be that slow, but
it's already something we're aware of and looking into.
Oh, okay, sick. Yeah. But I guess with that, the fights will not last an hour. If that does get changed, like, I could see someone kiting for an hour. Like, especially when teammates help. Like,
yeah, I just don't see the fights lasting an hour. Like, again, even theoretically, like in a logical standpoint, I see you guys, even if you go in, you attack somebody, you jump them, either you kill them in KO and then boom, the fight's over. It's not going to last that long, or they get out of KO, they meet up with their team, they run out their timer, which whatever it's going to be, and then you guys retreat back to KO so that you can TP out, reset, boom, done. Like, I don't see any kind of fights lasting a super long time, just like I don't think you guys truly see it lasting a long time, but it's really going to depend on, I guess, the situations and what happens. But again, if we want to talk about that 60-minute thing being less, let's have serious conversations about that. Feel free, one of your guys' group that doesn't agree with it, feel free to make a suggestion. Talk it out within different people, and then we'll have those conversations.
What I was going to say was, if I could find the suggestion that was made with that exact system you guys are planning on implementing, could I add you guys in it? Because I'm pretty, like, there's a couple, like, a lot of downvotes, and there's a decent discussion from what I remember.
You can, but I think the discussion right now is based on the time limit. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I have not been as active this map. I'm not, like, sure I can give you, like, a decent discussion. Stray says he really wants to talk about this. I don't know if his hand is up, but if he could have like I feel like more people than just me deserve the opportunity to talk about this. I'm not like
It's fine. Stray will get it.
I mean,
yeah.
I'd say
He'll be able to talk about it in a second.
only thing I'd say is it's really early on. That number is just like the base number we have.
Okay.
There's going to be testing. There's going to be balancing that's going to happen. And I'm sure if that number needs to go down, it will go down. I'm sure if that system needs to be changed, it will be changed. But as of right now, it's all just the base plan. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
also
And that's what I was going to say as well. At the end of the day, nothing that we're releasing is set in stone. And I think everybody that's in here should understand that. Like, there's been things that we've released and changed and adjusted and whatever. Like, it's a constant flowing back and forth like a pendulum, dude. Like, it's never going to be a situation where it's like, oh no, we released it, you guys are that's what you got to deal with. Like, so at the end of the day, let's have those conversations. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. And then at the end of the day, we're going to listen to what you guys have to say. And if it sounds logical and needs to be implemented, we'll implement it. Period.
fair enough. I just like back to what I was saying with the bosses. I just really want to avoid like a PvP system where the only fights that happen are a result of jumping, and like with a 60 like with a timer system like that could possibly result in that. But
Then what I'll ask you and your groups, not just your group directly, but the other
Yeah.
groups that enjoy the PvP and agree with that statement, come up with different ideas that we could potentially do in KO zones. Because personally, I'm gonna be honest with you, as somebody who creates the loot tables for the bosses, I don't think it's fair that those loot tables are stuck behind people who are only willing to risk losing their entire set.
no, I completely agree. I made the neutral boss suggestion I think like 3 maps ago. Like
Yeah, and
I'm just
I'm
saying
fine
like
with
there
that.
should be like 2 separate ones, like a neutral boss that gives like decent loot and a KO boss that could give slightly better loot. Like it doesn't even have to be that much better, but it just lets
Yeah.
lets fights happen that are more coordinated rather than a system where
But
it's just based on jumping.
Here's the problem: if we make a KO boss that's got mediocre loot, you guys aren't gonna fight over it. Like, it's got to be something.
We already fight over it. It does not have good loot. I think I got like 10k worth of items yesterday.
Don't you tell me that the bosses don't have good loot. I know what's in them, first of all.
And I will say I've been taking up a lot of your time. I see the chat. I'll step down.
All right.
I know. Yeah. Appreciate the conversation though. Seriously.
Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Alrighty, MGA.
Hello. I just wanted to ask: is the KO zones connected to each other with like tunnels and stuff, or is it 2 separate ones?
Not to start with, but who knows? It could expand.
Oh, and is there like one entrance you can get into it, or is there like multiple entrances you can like run in, run out of?
For the start, there's only going to be the one main entrance inside of the corner POI.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask that.
Alrighty. Mr. CC Easy.
Right, firstly, great addition for the KO timer in my opinion. People are going wild already because it was one of the most hated suggestions. I personally love it, but from the person that suggested the idea in the first place, I do think the 60-minute timer is too high. I'd say start at a 30 and cap it down to 10 by farming mobs, only because, especially with crit engine slow and obviously going in a direction of nerfing infectious and stuff, I just think an hour is way too much. And I know Tater explained that it might incentivize longer fights or, different metas about trying to kite and then the tables turn kind of thing. But I still think an hour is far too long.
Yep, and like I said, it's something that we're going to be doing the testing on. We're going to see what sort of tweaks we need to make, but it's very early on right now. So
yeah,
that number, don't
definitely.
expect it to be final, especially if there's a lot of feedback currently that's saying it should be tweaked. So,
and also with the KO timer, what will the KO timer adventure upgrade do now?
something that we will consider and make sure it's addressed, but
Yep. And then quickly, last thing is obviously you said neutral was going to be quite a bit bigger, or a higher chance of being bigger. I recommend that the map be slightly bigger as well, otherwise it'll take away for people that just want to lawful grind. Me personally, I'm not going to lawful grind, but I know a lot of people are not interested in PvP at all. And I feel like lawful might be a bit too small because there's quite a lot of people that don't like PvP. Oh, it's awkward silence again, man.
To address that, yeah, the map's going to be bigger as well.
Okay, perfect.
Well, I mean, the map's not necessarily going to be like bigger in a sense, but like that corner POI, the underground bit is going to be chaotic. The top part is not necessarily going to be chaotic. But once you start to enter the cave and you start to go underground into those tunnels, that's where it's going to be chaotic. So those corners are going to be areas to grind, and then basically the entire rest of the map that's not the neutral zone or those chaotic caves is going to be a lawful zone technically.
Yeah, but as I can't remember which one of you might have mentioned it earlier, but it was about neutral zone being slightly bigger than what the current KO is.
It will be pretty bigger, yes.
Wouldn't that take away quite a lot of the lawful area, though?
It will take away some, but at the end of the day, neutral is not necessarily something like we want to encourage players to feel comfortable enough to go neutral, which is why like those areas, sure, they're going to have like a high quantity of mobs, and you can still go there to kill mobs, and you don't lose your gear. Like you can still go neutral, start to get introduced a little bit into PvP. But I get there's not a lot of people that play Sky specifically for PvP. But there's still going to be plenty of space for neutrals, and I mean, not plenty of space for lawfuls to grind.
Perfect. And then there's only two little quality of lives, which will take 20 seconds to ask. But is there anything about possibly 2 weapons in neutral? And also with the filter actually working for mob drops, mask drops, and stuff like that? Because right now it fully bypasses it.
Yes to 2 weapons. It is something we're looking at. No to the filter, because that's a much larger issue, and I can't guarantee we're able to look at that.
Is a potential easy fix just make the loot drop on the character player in front of them from the thing instead of directly into their inventory? Because things that are dropped on the item, the filter will not pick them up if it's set to it. So it just drops
It's
at the player
much
feet
more of a
instead.
scuffed way to fix it, but
Yeah,
that's
it's a
I'm not
band-aid.
planning on it. But yeah.
Right, that's everything. Thank you.
Alrighty, next up is Marcus again.
Yo, hello. So I was gonna just ask a few things and do it quick so other people can get their turn. So are we aware of like Abyss Chaotic just not really being chaotic? Like it's awful. I've grinded there for an hour straight, sometimes 2. I've seen maybe 2 like spawns of heroic mobs. Think I've seen mythic mobs in there once. I've seen 1 captain in there the whole map. Like it's just regular like zone with chaotic. So I'm not sure if you guys are aware.
Would have liked if you would have made a bug report on this, but no, it's not something we've been aware of. But I can take a look into that tonight.
All right. Any changes to blessings? Is there more, or people? I know some people are curious if it will ever be possible to get more than 1 blessing, or just any changes to blessings in general.
I mean, you can technically get more than 1 blessings by how you use them right now.
I guess.
As far as the blessings themselves, no, we don't really have any information on map 5 blessings at the moment. But we'll obviously, once we have more concrete information on that, we'll be letting you guys know.
So I'll bring up Marauder Skulls again. I know a few people have brought it up, but like Marauder Skulls are really nice. Technically, yes. Like they are sometimes hard to get. I feel like Abyss has been like the only map where it feels like even as a solo you can even get the top items. But like in my opinion, as of right now, how the skulls are, it's like almost encouraging and multiple people account sharing. I don't know if you guys care for that. Obviously, it's not that big of a deal. But like if you want to get to that high skull amount or get anything that's obviously a really rare item from the skull shop, you have to basically account share.
I don't fully agree with that. I mean, I hear what you're saying. Keep in mind, skulls were released middle of this map, if not even actually
that's true.
Later middle of this
probably
map.
after.
So,
Probably after. Yeah.
so I don't fully agree with you on that, because I think that once people kind of understood the skulls and understood how it kind of worked, like that's when they started really cooking with it. And yeah, I've done the numbers with it. Like obviously when skulls released, the numbers were way out of sync, and that was for a purpose, because it was something being added to the game. It was new. Wanted to see how gold prices needed to align with the way that people were grinding. Once a week of that was seen, guess what? I was able to make much more reasonable pricing for a lot of the items in the things. And even since then, we've seen it be used a ton for smaller tiered items all the way up to some higher tiered items. Obviously, I get what you're saying as far as with the whole some of those crazy points items that people want to save up for. What I will say is Adventures isn't the only place where you're going to be able to obtain skulls from. Number one.
Right. Yeah, well, yeah, we've seen that with like LMS and fishing. It's
There you go.
decent addition.
So there's not just Adventures where you're going to be able to obtain skulls from. You're going to be able to build those things up, and I do not believe that you will have to account share to be able to buy those things. Obviously, will it make it easier? Potentially, but that's not what we're trying to enforce with that system. Again, that system is mainly built not for the high tier grinders. It's mainly built for those just super heavy grinders that open a ton of chests, don't see the items they want to see, but they can potentially buy them through the shops with the skulls that they get. That's mainly what it's for. So
Then my last two things would be: could we get Koth like 1 per IP? Because that gets quite ridiculous. with people
we're
going
working on a system that limits people from being able to go into Koth. It's a little bit different than an IP thing, but we are working on that. Yes. So we'll hopefully have something for that when Map 5 begins.
And probably the last thing, like as you said to I think Toastier said about the boss loot or whoever it was. I don't think boss loot is bad, but it's similar to opening a mythic chest. You can get something really great, you can get something really ass, in my opinion. So with it being neutral, do you think? Because in my opinion, there's going to be a lot more people contesting. So many people probably, like compared to what it is now. Like maybe in the mid map, early maps, it was probably like 15v15s. But like with the new map coming out, with it being neutral, I could see like 10v10v10, like 5-6 different groups fighting for it. So could we see like maybe a slight increase in better loot since anybody's able to contest it now, and there's no other really risk other than just dying neutral?
I mean, we'll see.
a
I'm
lot
not gonna make promises on it. We have to see what that looks like first before because it is obviously a little bit now that it's not confined to 1 to 2 groups. It is something that sure can be potentially increased a little bit, made better a little bit because it's got the possibility of being spread out through other people. But I'm not gonna make that promise right now. Obviously, there are some additions that I want to make to these bosses already. That's already in the works. I've already got it written down on my to-do list for map 5. But as far as like making them super OP, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what it looks like. We'll see how people are grinding it, and we'll kind of go from there. So.
And the last thing to add to that kind of then, since there's going to be a lot of people, that it might just end up being like everyone's going to rush the boss and everyone's just going to try to get the most damage, get the stuff, and just run away. Because there's going to be so many people, and it's going to be impossible to even have like a proper fight those people off, and then go for the boss. It might just end up being a horde of 50 people just trying to kill, for example, a Plague or a Bandit King or whatever.
Yeah, again, I don't know what it's going to look like yet. We'll have to see what that looks like, bro. Like, let me put it this way: if there's 50 people fighting for a boss, as a server admin, I'm not going to be upset about that. I think if anything, like we'll look and see if there's anything we need to do to make it more or less chaotic. More or less chaotic, yeah. Don't mind me, it's Friday. But at the end of the day, like we'll see what that looks like when that time comes, and then we'll make adjustments if we need to. So
my last quick thing is like, is the abyss thing like, would it be hard to be like fixed or no? Because it would be nice if we were able to get the actual chaotic buff from grinding there, like the actual better disparity of mobs this map, and it not come out next map. Because if you ask anyone who's been in there, or even look around yourself, if you probably go in there now, you'll mainly just see legendary mobs, and I feel like the spawn rates and like the mob like hordes are pretty low there as well. It's nothing crazy.
Like I said, I'm going to be looking into that tonight.
All right, thank you. That's all. I'll move on and let someone else talk. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Alrighty. Next, we got Stray.
YOLO.
Hello.
I just want to bring up a few things. So the first thing I want to talk about is the bosses. I understand where Tater is saying like, people don't want to like, I don't know. Why is it so? Yo, Gator, stop that. Anyways, Tater was talking about how he didn't want to have the bosses just excluded the KO fights and be open to everybody else, but a majority of the people that want to fight, right, is mostly for bosses. Like, people won't go neutral. I mean, people are going to go neutral for the bosses, yeah, but I feel like there should be two types of bosses. There should be a KO type of boss and a neutral type of boss. That way there's still incentive for PvP. Most of the reason why there's PvP at the current state, right, are because bosses. And if there is someone getting jumped, grinding KO, for instance, the whole incentive is to get that person out, not to take a fight, right? I mean, obviously we're going to try and take a fight as well, but most of PvP comes from bosses, and if you take that away, I think it's going to take a big aspect of PvP like away as well. So there should be something like, you know, exchanged, I don't know, in some type of way, maybe like a new type of boss in KO that's like once a day for each adventure or something like that. But I feel like that's the only way that would solve that. I don't know. Like, most people, when they're getting jumped, they just want to get out. There's not really going to be a fight. The only reason there's fights at the moment are because of bosses. And how Toasty was saying, you know, the loot isn't like crazy, which is fine. We mostly go there for the PvP. I feel like if you were to add like better loot to like this one day type of boss in KO, like, it would be a lot better in my opinion. And yeah, that's basically what I have to say about the bosses.
Well,
So-
again, like I told Toast here, if you guys want to have conversations about what can potentially be done in KO, which preferably would not be a boss, because again, I don't really want to have the same situation that we had now, which is having something that's locked behind an area where you have to risk your entire set in order to even comp with it. I get that there should be some risk for rewards in those areas, which there is. And I get what you're saying, where there's got to be some kind of thing that brings people potentially to that area. But let's think of something else potentially that could look like. I don't think the bosses being in neutral is going to, number one, stop PvP. You guys are still going to be able to PvP there. You're just not going to be able to take people's sets.
Yeah, I'm fine with the PvP. I actually like the idea, but
so
there
I don't
will be no
understand-
incentive for KO PvP is all I'm trying to say. Most of the PvP that comes from KO PvP are from bosses. Like, I don't mind it being a neutral, like there'll be more fights, but now there's not going to be as many fights in KO. The only reason there's current fights right now is because of bosses.
So as groups that enjoy KO and enjoy that kind of PvP, let's think of some interesting ideas that we could potentially do to bring that back there. I'd prefer it not be a boss, but if it has to be, we'll figure that out. But I'd also like to just say, like, let's see how it is. Like, you guys, like, I get the sticker shock. I do. I get it.
Yeah.
Sticker shock of, hey, this is completely different than what we're used to, and I don't like it. We've seen that many a times where once the sticker shock fades, people are like, you know what? It wasn't that bad. And this may be the same thing. You never know. But I get where it's coming from. All I'm asking is, number one, if you guys do want to see something else in those chaotic zones to bring people there so you can fight over it, cool. Let's talk about it. Let's see what it looks like. Maybe it's not a boss. Maybe it's something different. But at the end, like, let's see how this plays out, because you might like it better than what you like now. You know,
I understand the sticker shock, but if it doesn't get implemented, I don't feel like it's gonna get implemented all that season. Is pretty much.
Have we done that
I mean,
in the last two maps? Like, what have we talked about? What have we released that we didn't adjust that you guys were unhappy about? Super, like, you guys
BRs.
That's different. Okay, that's different. BRs were trash from the get-go, in my opinion. So that's.
All right, but you asked for example. I gave a valid example.
That's a
even though nobody
DOA.
stands
That's
by
a
it.
DOA example. I
Yeah,
don't
but you
wanna hear
asked for
that.
example. It was an example.
Give me
it's
another
fair.
example.
Let's see. I guess. I don't know. I guess that's the only one that comes to mind, but that's like the main one for me, I guess.
All right.
But
Well,
yeah.
like I said, I'm down. I think it's not even just me. The entire team is down to talk about these things. Is down to get, just make sure that the game overall, not just for the PvEers, but also for the PvPers, is what it needs to be. But we just need to talk it out, have those kinds of conversations, and we'll figure it out.
So like I said, most of us don't really care for the. We're just there for the fights. So, yeah. And then the second thing I want to talk about is it's about. I forgot. I lost track. Let me think. Second thing I wanted to talk about was the tunnel system, how there's one entrance, right, and one exit. I feel like if you do that, like on prisons, there was slash jet, there was slash fly, there was springs, there's ways to get out of tunnels and stuff like that. Like Nightmare, there was those things. And on here, there's nothing like that, and I would not like that to get implemented at all, to be honest. Like I don't want slash jet, slash fly, no springs. Like I like it the way it is currently. Yeah, there is pearls, but I don't know how deep it's gonna go. Like one pearl could just like, get you so far and then you just get knocked back down. Like I don't know. I just don't like that in my opinion.
Well, I think Apple's mentioned this a few times. Like at the end of the day, it's going to be balance checked. It's going to be messed with by not just cosmonauts, but probably other people in the community as well. I'm sure you being a cosmonaut, as well as part of the bigger alliances, you'll probably be included in some of the messing around with it. So at the end of the day, if changes need to be made, changes will get made.
All right. And last one, the KO timer starting off and going down. The whole reason I think it was a good system right now, how it is because, you get there's like incentive to grinding, like there's good loot, and like you shouldn't be able to get, I don't know, a free out of jail card just from grinding. Like there should be like risk to reward, you know what I'm saying? So if you're grinding, and you shouldn't be like going down, there should be going up. There should be risk, is pretty much how I think of it. I don't know. That's kind of my standpoint on it. I don't like the idea of it going down when you're grinding. Like, I think it's just dumb.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't think that you, as somebody who's willingly going in there to grind loot, should have more risk than the people that are just jumping you real quick to get a kill. I think if you're willing to go in there and grind, and you're willing to spend your time in there, and you're willing to run around and do what you need to do in KO, potentially lose your set, you should have the advantage if somebody jumps you, not the people that jump you. And again, with the way that things are going to be on this map, where it's not a flat world that you can simply just run across to get out of KO and start your KO timer getting down. You have to get out of KO first. And so it's not going to be super simple, but if that individual is able to get out of KO, they should have the advantage over the people that are attacking them. That's just, in my opinion, that's how it always should have been. I'm surprised it took us this long.
A lot of people don't like the idea of that. They like the idea of where you are grinding mobs and your KO timer goes up and you have lots of good loot on you and you should be able to die because of that. You shouldn't have a less of a risk just because you're grinding. I mean, you're going there to get the best loot in the game. Like there's plenty of mobs that are high tier. You shouldn't have less of a risk, in my opinion. The person who's going in there as well can die.
The thing is, you don't have less of a risk. You have the same risk as everybody else who jumps in. The only difference is you have a slightly better benefit of getting out from 10 people who decide to jump you. I wouldn't say the risk is any less than you sitting there grinding versus other people. Not to mention there's mules in KO. Anything that you're really worried about,
most people don't mule in KO, to be honest. A lot of people in my alliance don't. That's just from what I know. I've never milled once.
I have data that says otherwise. So
really? Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe the randoms. Yep.
The main thing here is that it's something we're gonna have to look into. We're gonna be doing all the balance testing, everything for. So as much as we can have the conversations now about it, until we actually get our hands on it and get the feel of what that sort of system would actually feel like, it's not the most beneficial use of time to discuss it, I'd say, but it's definitely something I've got noted down. We'll see if we need to change anything in our base testing before bringing on players, but that will be something we will include players and cosmonauts in when we're testing that sort of stuff, because we want to make sure that all these changes to chaotic and neutral that we're doing, that we do them right. But
gotcha.
Any other questions?
No, that was basically it though. I just don't like the idea of what I just said pretty much.
I understand. Yeah, we'll take that into consideration, and then during testing as well, we'll see what sort of compromise needs to be met, if any. But yeah,
I mean, the only people I'm really seeing agree with this idea is CC Easy's group. I think the majority of the player base don't like it.
Okay, well, we'll have to wait and see till we get our hands on it. But yeah,
gotcha. All right, thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, you got a few more. We got Mr. Gator.
Hey, what's up, admin team? I'm gonna put a timer on myself just so I don't yap. But alright, so let's get down to business here. LMS kind of blows. I'm a KO warrior. I'm KO all the time. I'm kind of a threat. But I'm just saying that there's like LMS kind of sucks, and there needs to be some sort of like risk element to it because right now you can just stand naked and the loot kind of blows, and like why would anyone waste their time going there? Like why don't we move LMS into the adventure? All right, and then to prevent people like my good friend Steel here from comping it 24/7, just debuff the players capping. Give them weakness. Give them the crit and slowness now. Like
So this would be a better use of time for a suggestion. LMS is just released. It's not supposed to be comparable to Chaotic. Chaotic's supposed to be, of course, the best area to get loot and everything. But if you got thoughts and suggestions on LMS, it should be put in as a suggestion post.
yeah, I'll cook something up for you. But my second question, and it's my last question, is when are we going to see like? Shit, I don't want to use the word like now that straight talked, but actually, you know what? I'll make a suggestion. I'll make a suggestion. I'll save everyone the time.
Alrighty. Anything else?
Nah, thanks.
I already have a good one. Mr. Robo Ninja.
Hello. So my question is there going to be like an AH tax or a slow expiry date for next season at all?
What would that address? Like, how would that make a difference?
Like near the start of the season, most of the trades were just made with slots. Money didn't really make a big play. And I guess adding an AH tax will slow the amount of money coming into the economy. And well, I guess making the slow expiry date will stop people from, I guess, using slots for trades.
So as kind of the guy who deals with the loot tables, I mean, I don't think there's an issue with slots being a different type of currency on the server. Like honestly, it's always been something like that. So I don't think adding an expiration date to slots is necessarily the best idea. I can tell you this, and I'll let everybody in here know. Going into next map, slots are going to get a huge nerf in loot tables. So you're not going to see as many slots being given out in the loot tables as you have this map, for example. There's a reason behind this, and hopefully we'll see kind of the benefits of it throughout map 5. But having a slot eco along with a money eco is not necessarily a bad thing. So I don't necessarily agree personally with adding expiration dates. Like unless you can tell me like a good reason why that should be implemented, I'm not too fond of it.
If you get nothing, then I guess there's no point.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like I'm not trying to see the Sky Eco hit to where, like, for example, Cosmic PvP's Eco was, or the other one that we had as well. But we want to try to nip that in the bud right now. Like I'm literally going to be probably cutting it in half, if not more, from the eco as far as the adventure loot where you obtain them. Loot boxes, you're not going to see them as much in, obviously. Like it's going to be one of those types of things where slots are going to have a really good value. So it's going to be fine for it to stay as an alternative currency. So
yeah, that's cool. Another question: recipe pages, they're way too common. Like
yep,
loot
that's another
tapes,
thing getting nerfed.
Okay, cool. System override, it's a bit too broken. I personally think it needs a rewhack or a nerf. Is it not?
It doesn't. It's supposed to be the way it is. It's the best enchant in the game. So it's meant to be the best enchant in the game. It's not something, in my opinion, that needs to be nerfed. I've paid attention to the loot that's coming from it, and it looks great. At the end of the day, as long as we keep it as rare as we've kept it up until the end of the map, the only reason you see so many of them on the map now is because obviously reset's been announced and we've released stuff that drops them a whole lot more. But other than that, like the whole entire map, unless somebody wants to tell me wrong, the whole entire map systems drops have been really balanced, and there hasn't been a crap ton of them on the server, which has made it not too broken. So I think we're good.
Yeah, that's fine. If the data backs it, then that's cool. I'm done.
All right. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Alrighty, I believe we've got one more. Let's see, where is the stage? Why can I not pull it up? Here it is. We have got Nishu again.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay. I just wanted to ask some more clarifying questions, I guess. One, you said there were going to be changes to blessings. Does that include just the one map long blessings, or does that include the ones that last more than one season? What does that look like?
No, if a blessing was advertised as like a 3-map blessing, then that blessing isn't going to be changed. It's more of just like the blessings that will be available to be purchased next map may not be the same ones you were available to purchase at the beginning of this map.
So as a
So
follow-up, if a multi-map blessing was offered this map, is there a chance it will not be offered next map?
Potentially. That's the thing with blessings, they can
Okay.
change.
And then for my second question, there was some talk about account sharing earlier. I thought that wasn't allowed. I can't find it in the rules anymore. Did something change related to that, or am I just mistaken? Or
Account sharing is only against the rules for staff members. As regular players, you do have the ability to account share. However, we do not recommend it because if you account share, you're linking your data with somebody else's data. And if that individual decides to do something stupid and get themselves banned or permanently IP banned, then you could take action against that as well. So we do not recommend it, but it is not against the rules. No.
all right, thank you. And no, I will not be asking about prisons.
Appreciate it.
Well, you kind of did. Alrighty, and that is going to conclude the voice part of this Q&A. For the next few minutes here, if you guys have any questions you want to put in the chat, if you didn't get to answer, feel free to type it in there, and we will take a look at answering.
No, that is not what I said. We're just the loot table itself is hopefully going to get better in slots. I'm just nerfing the amount of slots that are being dropped on the server. Shut your mouth, Tazza. It's not meant to be amazing, Tacula. But the goal is to make it better, yes. No, that is never going to be a thing. You're not going to be able to roll slots to get more slots. That is not going to be a thing. Absolutely not. No. Holy White Scrolls be a thing? You're about to be one of the most hated people on the server, Gator. More showcase expanders. Hold on, I missed that. Can we get more showcase expanders throughout the map rather than a bunch at the end? Yeah. No, we can definitely look into adding that into some tables for sure.
Tater, I threw them into BAH, by the way, so players will not be able to get it from that.
Yeah, even outside of BAH, we could definitely look into adding that to a couple of other places as well.
Yep.
If nerf and slot drops on the server, make sure to take into account BR too. Yeah, BR will be a part of it as well. I'm not sure what that means, Paul. Any plans to make good loot more accessible for non-massive alliances? Can you tell me how good loot is not accessible to even solo players? Slim, if I'm being honest, realms are like the forgotten stepchild. Like that's something we'll maybe look into at some point, but it is not on the docket right now.
One note I will make for next map is that players are not going to be able to purchase like diamond items from realms. Players are not going to be able to go into a realm until they have the corresponding map.
You mean purchase items from a realm unless they have a corresponding map?
I'm definitely saying this backwards, but yeah, if a realm is locked behind Third Adventure, you would need a Third Adventure map in order to purchase items.
Yeah.
No more alts.
I definitely missed a question. Hold on. A bigger variety of cosmonauts. Did you already answer that one, Apple? Nope.
No, but we expand the list whenever we can. It's more of a Tater dual thing, but
Yeah, cosmonauts are continuously being chosen and assigned the role, so it's just a matter of if we see somebody that's super active or giving good suggestion, not even good suggestions. I don't want to use that terminology because it's not always about good suggestions, but just being able to discuss things without getting butt hurt and taking things too far, essentially. So we're constantly adding people to that team, yes, to answer that question. Let's see. Third map. It's not a shot at anybody, Mash. It's just a general statement, my dude. Blue Scrolls change, actually map 5, Maui's. It's already in the works. Revamp on treasures is a different story, Tacula. I'll be trying to look at it before map 5, but it will most likely be something that I eventually want to completely redo treasures, if I'm being honest with you. So it's going to take some time, but we'll see. No concrete plan on it right now. Clue scrolls have good loot and make them obtainable through purchase with XP. I don't believe I saw that suggestion, Gator, but we're making clue scrolls just much simpler than they were before, so that's kind of the whole goal with them. We'll explain more about it when it gets closer to it coming out. What? I don't know what that even means, Slim.
I've seen a lot of different suggestions just expanding on the LMS mechanic. We definitely wanted to release it in a simpler state, and I think it'll be interesting seeing how it's utilized Start of the World with that money and XP scaling. But it's definitely something we can expand on in terms of adding Adventure Loot into it. But yeah, I'd want to see what it looks like for Start of the World first. Yeah, for 1.20 mods, do you mean on Island or Adventures? Anti-Gank 5 is meant to be what it is, although I have seen a lot of suggestion threads about it, and it's something we can look into. I mean, it's not bugged, it's just, that's how that enchant functions. As Apple already said, there's going to be a fairly large recipe audit going into map 5.
I think somebody did Apple, but you might have missed it.
They demanded it. I don't think they asked. But...
I thought I saw somebody ask about it.
Alrighty, well, I think that's going to wrap up today's Q&A. We will potentially be having another one prior to map number 5 releasing, but of course, make sure your Discord notifications are open in case we do ask some people to join in for testing. But other than that, thank you guys for hopping in. It's been a fun one. Got some good notes down. Hopefully, got some good information out to you guys as well, and can't wait for map number 5.
Thank you guys.